Welcome everybody, this is Niclas Huschenbeth and we're looking at another game of mine from the FIDE Grand Swiss, the tournament to determine one of the candidates in the Candidates Tournament 2020, and we're looking today at my game from round number 5 where I played against yet another American, this time Samuel Shankland. So let's get right to it, shall we? I played e4 and we have a Royal Lopez on the board. And here my opponent surprised me a little bit with this move bishop c5, which actually I played myself not too long ago, if you've seen my game against Kasper Piorun. c3, b5, bishop b3, d6, a4. And here black has a number of different choices. Rook b8 is the main move, certainly. Bishop g4 is there. b4, as I learned yesterday in my game against Grandelius, is also a possible move. Very rare though. And what Shankland played, bishop b7. Now d4, bishop b6, rook e1. And by transposition we have reached a position that I had against Luka Lenic earlier this year in January 2019. And he played h6. But Shankland goes for castle. And I had not looked at this before the game, but I knew the critical try is bishop g5. And I know it can become very sharp then. So I said, well, gotta do it. Let's go. Bishop g5, h6, bishop h4, takes on d4, takes on d4. It's very direct here. If white gets a few more moves in, he's certainly fine. I mean, knight c3, e5 is in the air. So black has to do something right away, g5. And white can retreat here with the bishop to g3. That's certainly a more quiet option. But I knew there's this idea to sacrifice. So I did it. Knight takes g5. Pawn takes, bishop takes. And this is incredibly dangerous for black. No question. But objectively, it's fine. It's possible for sure. Knight takes d4 and bishop d5. And I knew this line because in the Mitropa Cup last year, my teammate Dimitri Kollas on the second board, he had this position against Godena. And Godena back then played, well, he played c6, exactly, c6 here. But this is not correct. Knight e6 is the best move and what Shankland played. After c6, white brings the rook. Rook a3, rook g3. And the Kollas game continued with rook e8, rook g3, king f8, check, king e7, bishop takes f7, incredibly dangerous for black. So this is not recommended. And instead Shankland played knight e6, attacking my bishop on g5. So I go bishop h4. And again c6 is no good because of queen f3 to hit the knight. And if bishop d4, there's e5 to stop, to interrupt this defensive line of the bishop. And this is again over. Knight takes d5 was actually a game. Queen g4 check. Knight g5. Okay, this is over. So c6 again doesn't work, but bishop takes d5. Pawn takes, knight g7. And my opponent was blitzing out all the moves. He clearly had looked at this before the game, or for sure knew it. So I'm still a piece down, but I still have this very annoying pin. And I played queen f3. And I also vaguely remembered what I had looked at here. And in fact, we just followed this analysis that we both had. Knight c3, rook takes e1, rook takes e1. Now bishop d4. Defending the knight, knight e4, knight ge8, and here I need some space for my king. So the immediate knight takes f6, this doesn't work because checkmate on the back rank. So I need to make some space first. h3. And this is a very interesting position. Actually, even in correspondence chess where the players have lots of time, the position has been lost several times. So I knew that, and I knew it's dangerous. I also knew that rook b8 is probably the best move here, which if you haven't looked at this position before the game, you would probably not play this move, rook b8. Crazy move. There are a number of moves here. During the game, I was wondering about bishop takes b2, and I wasn't sure what I'm going to do here, but it seems like queen f4 to get the rook into a game is a good idea, and white should be better. So my opponent played rook b8. Another move that has been seen a number of times in correspondence chess is b takes a4. But this move, now black has to defend incredibly accurate. And I knew this during the game, that this position, in my notes actually it says in a practical game, this would be a losing move. There's no way that black can find all the right moves after this one. Knight takes f6, bishop takes f6. By the way, if knight takes f6, then white can just bring the rook in some way, I thought, like rook e4. Something like this, bring the rook into a game, and at some point this piece will drop. Maybe rook e4, maybe queen, something along these lines. The rook will enter along the 4th rank, or maybe the 3rd rank, depends. So this is no good in any variation. So bishop takes f6, so we have the same position. Now there's actually a strong threat of checkmate, which means black has to give a check, play queen b1 to defend against this. And now h4. And the main difference here is that after rook e8, bishop c3, black needs to have this move b4. White here is a safe outpost for the bishop. And now again there are all kinds of troubles with queen f6. Here, for example, is a correspondence game where white just won. h6 pushes the pawn, queen f5, and black resigned because of the trade. Well, this pawn will decide the game. I guess black can stop it for now, but that means he has to lock the rook in, and then it's just game over. So this is why black shouldn't take on a4. I mean, he can, it's possible, but it's so dangerous. There's another move here. I think bishop e5 is also fine. Okay, but Shankland played rook b8 right away. And here I played this variation now. Maybe there are some other, well, there are certainly some other moves here. In one correspondence game, queen f4 was played. Also there's a takes b5, maybe a5. But in the end it's all equal. Definitely dangerous for black, but all equal. Well, at this point I had taken a lot of time to figure out the right continuation and making sure I'm not mixing anything up, while my opponent was like on 1 hour 48 or something like that, because he had blitzed out all the moves. So there was like a 1.5 hour difference between us, and I figured, well, we're gonna go down this line, queen b1, and now just to illustrate again, here if now h4 like we just saw, then the difference is here black can play this move b4 to distract the bishop. And okay, I shouldn't take on b4. That takes too much time, and after bishop d4, this would be, well, again, around equal. Quite complicated actually. So I took on b5 first of all, a takes b5, and now queen g4 check, queen g6, and here queen h4, queen h7, queen g5 check. If king f8, I can play bishop e7, bring the bishop back, and this is also all a draw, queen g6. It's not a winning try for black. And this is also a draw. So we repeat the moves here. And of course this was not something we both had hoped for sure. I mean, I had hoped for a full game, and he definitely had hoped for something else as well. But the way it turned out, he was incredibly well prepared, and I tried what I could, but it also took me a lot of time to remember or to figure out the right way. And then the logical outcome was a draw. So very sharp game, excellent preparation by Shankland, as usual, unfortunately for me, and another draw in this game. Let me know if you have any questions about this one, and then I'll see you guys again very soon. Bye bye.